most marketing to this point is broadcast. You're effectively saying, here's something I hope you'll look at, and I'm putting a call to action on that. And you're hoping that you've done a good enough job that you've captured their interest and they will click through and do more discovery on your website or call somebody. But that expectation is changing. The call to action needs to be embedded in the experience now, and the action needs to be embedded in the channel, no matter what that channel is.
Today, I'm speaking with Steve Hammond, EVP and General Manager of Agentforce Marketing. Steve leads innovation across our marketing portfolio, helping businesses around the world connect with customers in smarter, more meaningful ways. Hi, Steve. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I really appreciate it.
Now, we've been talking about the agentic enterprise. Where does the marketing department or the CMO fit into this vision?
Well, it's kind of really at the center because CMOs and marketers have always been trying to make sure they can create the most delightful experience possible because they need to continue to pull people back into the experience. So no matter where you are, there's a bit of a blending happening where you can see an agent can perform actions both for marketing and for service and even for sales. So the blend is there, but the marketing teams still have a very important role in this because they have to create the interest, the delight, the moment, and that is where it all comes together. And so I think the other thing too is a lot of budgets are managed by marketing teams. And so there's definitely an important place for a marketing organization, and they're kind of at the heart of making sure that they have the vision and the strategy for bringing everything together.
You're speaking my love language here. Delight, moments, budget, all great things you want to hear in marketing. Yeah. So tell us, you've made a whole bunch of exciting announcements at Dreamforce.
We have.
How are you bringing the agentic enterprise to the marketing department?
Well, first of all, marketing is going to benefit from having agents that support their teams, making their jobs easier. It's going to be easier because we're allowing marketers to have access to agents that have a deep understanding of their campaigns, their audiences, their content, and we'll make it easier for them to be able to identify target audiences using agents, assisting them in identifying and creating audiences. Also, the creation of campaign briefs and the campaign itself, and even content. So you're going to see marketers really getting an efficiency in the way that they operate because they can do more with the assistance of these agents. We've also done a lot of great work to simplify the user experience. And so when you look at the experience that a lot of applications provide today when it comes to marketing, you have to know where to click. You have to understand the data schemas kind of behind the scenes. Where does that data sit? With agents, the agents can have that knowledge. And so the agent, you can simply ask an agent now to assist you in creating an audience or campaign. And as a user, you don't have to know all the nuances of your data schema. The agent can know that and can assist you in creating that. So you really see some incredible efficiencies. But the second big area that you get from the announcements that we're making is that you can now engage your customers in a more unique way. And this is a really important thing because customer expectations are changing. And this happens every few years. You see some new technology come out that really inspires people to engage a brand differently. And now the expectation is no matter which brand I engage with, there's going to be some kind of an agent that will curate that experience for me. Because if your brand doesn't do it for me, I'm likely to go somewhere else that might be doing that. Or I may simply go to ChatGPT or to Meta or Gemini or other services that can do a lot of that research and discovery for me, and even starting to be purchases. And so brands have to be very conscious of creating the best possible experience and using agents. And we're providing that ability for them to be able to do that.
What I find interesting is for the longest time, there was the traditional learn the marketing skill. And then probably for the last 10 or 20 years, people had to just learn the technology to apply that skill. I think you're bringing it back to the true marketing skills, which was building an audience, how do you do a good campaign brief, and then engagement, right?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And in fact, there's a parallel. If you look at the coding world, you've got kind of developers that are always the best because they knew all the coding languages and the syntax. But now, the best coders, because of AI, are more about the ideas and how you apply the strategy. The same thing is true for marketers. We're removing the need to go through and have to manage a ton of integrations or very complicated data sets because most of that is going to be managed now by agents, and we're really simplifying and reducing those integration requirements. So yes, to your point, marketers can now be more strategic. They can focus more on understanding the needs of their audiences and finding ways to captivate and motivate their audiences.
It's a great message for marketers who really aspire to be the best marketers, because it is bringing it closer back to that skill. Talking about the best marketers, you deal with some amazing organizations around the world. Is there any you want to share here that are doing great jobs?
Yeah, a New Zealand company, Fisher Paykel, right? They make these amazing appliances that make your home an incredible experience. And they've been searching for ways to continue to make sure that their customers get access to the best experiences possible when making those purchases, or when making, service requirements for upgrading the appliances, etc. And so Fisher & Paykel have engaged with us on marketing, on the commerce side, and on the service side to make sure, and I think on the sales side as well, to make sure that they can have a seamless experience that crosses all those boundaries. Because as a customer, you don't want to have to think like, I'm dealing with the marketing team today. Oh, now I'm talking to the service team.
They don't care about the silos you have built.
Exactly. I want to talk to Fisher & Paykel. So one of the things that they're doing really well is not only are they using our commerce to be able to engage in a beautiful way, marketing to be able to capture the attention, but also they're deploying agents in a really cool way. They're right in the process of deploying the next generation agent on their website and adding this back into other channels as well, where the agent has access to all of the content that displays their beautiful appliances and has inspiration as well. And so it's not simply a chat experience. That's pretty boring. They've gone beyond a chat experience to create an immersive, beautiful, content-rich experience that makes it so that when the agent is engaging with the customer, it's also bringing in the beauty and the elements of the design and the experience as well. So they're doing a fantastic job.
Well, I guess for a high-end appliance organization, they want a high-end website as well.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
And it's interesting because you mentioned before a lot of people might be going to a ChatGPT or a Gemini to get their answers. And I do tell marketers, one way to get around that is you've got to have a better experience on your website. Is that how you think about this for them?
It's interesting because latest traffic reports are showing that a lot of agents are becoming the majority of traffic going to websites. I heard one yesterday from a company that said that they are experiencing about 40% of their traffic coming from agents.
You don't want to be that CMO in that position.
The potential loss of getting people to really engage with their brand in a meaningful way. But the experience is that you need to make sure that people have the opportunity to be able to find what they're looking for quickly. And that's the reason people choose to go with Gemini or ChatGPT or other services, because it just makes their lives easier.
Yes.
And so as a brand, you really need to be thinking about, how do I make sure that when people do engage with my brand, whether it's a response to an email or maybe a WhatsApp message or SMS, or they land on my website or they go to my mobile application, any of these channels need to have the same level of agentic opportunity. They need to be able to provide an ability to be able to understand what that individual is looking for, and to be able to respond with information that will guide them to what they want. And this is one of the things we've unlocked. It's really cool because most marketing to this point, especially in digital channels, is broadcast. You're effectively saying, here's something I hope you'll look at, and I'm putting a call to action on that. And you're hoping that you've done a good enough job that you've captured their interest and they will click through and do more discovery on your website or call somebody. But that expectation is changing. The call to action needs to be embedded in the experience now, and the action needs to be embedded in the channel, no matter what that channel is. So if I send you an email, wouldn't it be nice if you could simply ask your questions back to the email?
Yes, and this is where I think you've called this the do not reply era that we've been in, right?
We've been in the do not reply era. Think about all
and we're moving past that.
We're moving past it because, all the campaigns in the past, there was nobody to catch the response.
Right.
You couldn't hire enough people.
Not enough people.
Yes, you couldn't hire enough people. You couldn't deploy enough agencies to respond to your campaigns. But that's changed because now we can educate and provide guidance for an agent about your campaign, about your products, about your brand, about your promotions. And now when you send out a message across any of these channels, if it's email, WhatsApp, SMS, push messaging, your website, etc., you can provide the guidance about how it can respond, the tone, the message, the timing, the regional support. You can even reference someone's profile if they authenticate.
Yes.
So you can make that even far more meaningful. Someone could ask, for example, based on my last purchases, what would you recommend I do next? And it can look up your history and bring that into the conversation as well. In a maybe financial services environment, we've seen examples where people are referencing maybe their loan to value amount and looking up, for example, their credit score in order to see if they can qualify for a loan.
Right.
And in an authenticated environment, we can facilitate all that through agents now. So the user experience is changing.
So much better.
It's so much better, but brands have to provide that. Otherwise, people will go to another service.
Yeah, and it's really interesting, the convergence of you're giving a better experience, but then you do have, like you mentioned, in the authenticated data, access to something you already know about the individual. So when you really combine that with this new technology, like that's a game changer.
It's actually the most important thing. Because if you're simply looking for generic answers, you'll get generic answers when you go out to a generic service.
There's a lot of great providers of that already.
But that's not what people are looking for, right? What people are looking for is something that's very similar to what you would have in person. And that's been elusive for decades. We've all talked about this ability to do high-level personalization in these digital channels. But what we had to look at previously was signals. We had to go through and look at, your behaviors of clicks, and then we had to go and hope that you would log in and authenticate. And then based on your authentication, we'd provide the best information we possibly could. But now with an agent, no matter what language you're using, no matter where you are in the world, if you choose to use slang, if you want to use whatever, these agents can now interpret your interests and your requests, and in milliseconds provide an understanding back to our systems to be able to say, hey, they're looking for this. And then we can go into our systems and look up their records. We can pull interesting information back that makes it more relevant and engaging. That's where the value comes, is to really tie that back to known customer data.
Now, this isn't some fringe idea. Like, let's geek out with some stats here. Like, is it we send a trillion? Correct me on how many messages we send, and
2
what's
trillion.
2 trillion messages. What's the open rate on those things today?
Okay, so you send out 2 trillion messages
with a
in
T.
a year with a T, 2 trillion.
That's crazy.
And the average open rate is about 1.4% on email. Now, other channels have higher open rates and so forth. But email, it's about 1.4% on a kind of broadcast message. Transactional messages are very different because you're expecting that. You're looking for maybe your order confirmation, other things. So some level of that 2 trillion messages has higher percent, some level has lower percents. But what's really interesting is that the reason that you get lower response rates is because what are people going to do with it? It's a do not reply. It literally says in the subject line, do not reply.
It's who sent it.
So you might look at it and you're like, okay, I got the information I need. I'm done. I don't need to do anything else.
Yeah.
But now we've unlocked it so where you can literally respond back, ask a follow-up question, get more detail, take action.
It's a big idea. Like
it's amazing.
It's a huge idea.
And it's not futuristic. This is now. So that's what's really important.
So tell me, you mentioned great examples around the world. Who else are we working with, and who's leaning into this right now?
Many companies are doing this. I think we have around 10 to 12,000 companies that are using Agentforce and really leaning into this. A great example that we're working with that you're going to see in some of the press releases and other things we have recently are coming up is a company called Indeed.
Yeah.
This is a company that helps connect employers to employees and helping to create job opportunities and link people together to get new jobs. And they're doing exactly this. They're optimizing the way that someone who's looking for a job can find the right kind of job. They can provide assistance through agents to help provide the right direction to find the job according to qualifications. And then they're doing follow-up messages and personalization on top of that as well. And it's really boosting the ability for these companies to engage their companies in meaningful ways.
We're living in interesting times. Every industry is going to be revolutionized here.
This is true.
So we've talked about the technology a lot, but there's a lot of CMOs that have other challenges they're dealing with, whether it is brand, budgets. Like, what are you hearing from CMOs? Is this their top focus, or are they thinking about a few other things too?
Well, they're definitely. So some of the most important things we hear from CMOs is they want to make sure that they can help their companies grow. Right. This is what a CMO does. They engage a target audience. They're looking for prospects. They're looking to grow the business through the marketing. And so CMOs are looking for ways to better understand and engage audiences. They're looking for ways to be able to make sure that when they do connect with those audiences, that there's a higher level of understanding and personalization that can be applied. We work with a lot of CMOs, and I can't name drop because I haven't had permission from them. But
I know you know a lot of CMOs.
There's a lot, yeah. But the things I continue to hear is that personalization can be the difference between 2 to 3 percentage points on the gross for certain companies. Wow. That's big.
That's huge.
And so if you're sending out, a lot of communications and in messages, if you can make it more tailored to the individual, it can have a huge impact on the business.
CFOs would love that.
Yeah, everybody loves that.
All day long.
Exactly. So that's one part of it. The other part of it is to make sure that they can provide answers back to the organization about the results that they're getting. right? I'm managing this big budget. I'm engaging these people. I want to be able to show the business that I'm getting results back. I want to show return on investment. I want to show that I'm targeting the right channels, that I'm giving the business this back. And so on top of that, we're also providing additional tools that provide marketing intelligence back as well. And we're applying agents to those tools. So you can look at all the performance of certainly your own campaigns and your own channels that you're managing. But on top of that, you're managing all kinds of paid media campaigns and advertising across many different outlets and channels. We now have the ability to be able to provide direct links into the data from those many channels. You can pull in hundreds of different sources of ads that you might be running or event data or anything else, and we can provide marketing intelligence on that. You can see, in one environment, all the performance and reporting for your campaigns as a whole. And we've applied agents that can go through and scour through that and provide insights to tell you things like attribution or to help you provide insights around campaign performance. We can even let the agents identify low-performing campaigns and pause them so you stop wasting money on low-performing campaigns so you can continue to optimize. And then we are also announcing that we have clean rooms. So we have the ability now to be able to expand. We've already been able to do an exchange. We're managing profiles of your audiences. You can use those profiles and exchange them with popular advertising channels so that they can then match your ads.
First party with theirs. Okay.
Exactly. And then on top of that, if you wanted to expand and work with other partners in the space to get more of kind of a joint relationship advertising going on through clean rooms, we've now extended that as well. And all of the reporting for this comes back in this marketing intelligence system, so you get full visibility of these campaigns so you can continue to optimize as well. So these are some of the things. And then quickly, I'll just highlight as well, all of the CMOs are also interested in agents. How do I make sure that my brand can get to this next level of experience that we've been discussing? That is top of mind. And they want to make sure that they can deliver these most engaging, experiential opportunities for their customers that are truly kind of moment-based marketing. You only have a moment to capture people's attention, and it has to be engaging. And that's what CMOs are really looking to do.
The CMO job's just getting bigger and bigger, and sometimes you hear that they're not quite yet at the C-suite table, right? And you mentioned, right, engagement, personalization, growth, voice of the customer. What's going on here, and what can the CMOs that are listening here take away from this as a moment for them to step up?
Every company, no matter what role you're in, if you're a CMO or a chief digital officer, or if you're head of revenue or whatever the role is, over customer success, your interest is the customer first. Mm-hmm. And the ability for a CMO to be an active part of that entire experience is becoming easier and easier because we're lowering the barriers between organizations. It used to really feel like your marketing budget and technologies were isolated to marketing.
Yes.
And there was
CDP was a perfect example of that, right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And you kind of almost were throwing the leads or the business over the wall to the next group to pick it up. And unfortunately, it kind of felt that way to the customer as well. Because now they pick up this conversation and someone says, "Who are you again? Tell me more about what you're looking for." Yeah. And it's a broken experience.
Now.
Yeah. So what we've done is we've lowered those barriers because now we have the same customer record that marketing uses. It's the same customer record that service has access to and uses, that commerce has access to and uses, that sales uses. And so there's complete transparency, and the user, the end customer, has the opportunity to engage with that brand in a seamless way now because there are no silos between those different organizations from a data perspective. Likewise, for personalization, we can use that same data to personalize across all those touch points and make sure that that customer always gets the opportunity to re-engage with that brand based on the best information in a meaningful way. Agents are the same. We've made it so that these technologies are using the same agentic layer. So when you're reaching out to your customers through marketing channels, there is literally no difference between the agent you use for marketing and for service or sales.
Right. And we've noticed that ourselves, right?
Yeah.
From customer service on help.salesforce.com to our website, it's the same agent, and your customer now can choose their own adventure.
That's right. And basically what you're going to find is that customers can ask the question that's most relevant to them at the time. If it's related to a product or promotion, then the agent is able to provide answers and responses to that. If it's service-oriented, then the system can pull their service records and pull that in and make that a meaningful experience as well. And so a CMO, to your question, has the opportunity to take a leadership role in delivering this experience. A CMO can carry forward the strategy in the business and say, look, we've been doing this for marketing. I want to extend this experience across the full customer journey. That is an amazing opportunity for someone in a leadership position to go and carry that strategy into their executive team and say, we can do this. We have the tools to do it. I know how to do it. Here's the strategy. Let's go.
You're singing from the same hymn sheet. I talk to all the CMOs, but we have a big audience. CIOs are hearing too. It's anyone's game here right now, but I think the CMO has a great shot at it. Now, we've talked at the leadership level. Let's bring it down a few levels. The typical marketer on the street, what are the skills they should be leaning into right now?
I think we kind of talked about the need earlier for marketers and technologists in the past to really have to know super detailed things about data syntax and how I, put the data from this system into this system and so on and so forth. There's still absolutely a need for that because we have the need to get the right data in the system. So there are marketers and there are technologists that still need to deeply understand data and data schemas and so forth. But what we're providing is tools that make that easier for that group to do, and also for other people who are more on the campaign ideation or campaign management or strategy side of things to not have to think about that as much, because they now have tools that abstract away those details and let them focus more on the campaign creation or the content or the experience. And so I think what I would say is really go out and start to understand how to use agents in your job, and we're providing these through our applications as well. We've got great trainings that are continuing to go onto our Trailhead environment so you can learn about these things. These keynotes that we're doing at different events around the world provide incredible opportunities to go through and see the demonstrations and get ideas. We have world tours that are happening all over the world all the time that people can go and participate in as well and learn. There are great peer groups, community groups. We have an amazing community for Marketing Cloud. I think it's around 200,000 active users in the Marketing Cloud.
What do you call them again? You call them the...
Moment makers.
There you go.
Moment makers for, yes, that's right, for Marketing Cloud. They kind of carry a dual label, Trailblazers and Moment makers from the marketing side.
Yeah.
But yes, this is
There's even a jacket you can get.
That's right. It's a blue jacket with some orange pinstriping on it. It's great. But yeah, this is an opportunity to be able to really, I think, up-level some learning and gain some new skills. It's a great time to be able to do that.
Great time indeed. No shortage of resources there. Now, you've been working hard. I know the engineering team's been working hard and they've delivered a lot. But what's coming next? Can you give us a little sneak peek of what's in the future?
A couple of things I want to highlight. First of all the things that we're making available to all of our customers. So it's been really an important strategy for us to find ways to make sure that all this new technology, it doesn't have boundaries. It doesn't have barriers to entry. So all of our current customers that are using Marketing Cloud engagement, account engagement, our personalization products, our marketing intelligence products, they get access to all this new technology as the next version for them. And we've created very simple ways for them to be able to do that. So some of the big innovation we've been doing is simply unlocking their existing implementations to very easily access things like Agentforce, to access our next generation data segmentation and the two-way conversational marketing that can be done as well. Now, your question about what's next?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are continuing to show really big innovations around very fluid, dynamic experiences. So, we're kind of known for our email, we're kind of known for the SMS, we're kind of known for the WhatsApp, we're known for mobile, etc. We're going to be continuing to expand into additional channels. Web is a big channel we're going to continue to expand into as well. This is the Fisher Paykel example I gave earlier. They're using us to be able to help leveraging our personalization product along with Agentforce to be able to dynamically adjust and adapt their web experience. And we'll see more of that. It's going to get easier and easier. We've actually created a new content system as well. Right now, the first phase of that is the ability for something we call DAM Connect. This is the ability to connect to a digital asset management system, or DAM, and link that in so that we can basically have access to the content you're managing in the systems. And when you're authoring these experiences within Marketing Cloud, or by the way, it's called Agentforce Marketing now.
That's the new name.
That's right. I'll go back and forth on that because it's still fundamentally Marketing Cloud.
People will remember who
we're
talking about.
There we go. But the new ability is to be able to access all of your content from different systems while you're authoring. And then on top of that, we're also creating deeper integrations with partners. We've just announced some integrations with Typeface and Writer and Jasper. We'll continue to add Grammarly. We'll add a bunch of others as well. We've got integrations with Binder, and we've got integrations with Content Stack and other providers as well, where while you're in the authoring mode, you can access these systems. And in fact, it's so deeply embedded that when you're creating new content, whether it's layout or images or copy with these systems, it literally goes right into the authoring environment and it becomes your authored experience that you're building for the campaign. So really cool integrations happening there, and we'll keep doing more and more in that space as well.
No shortage of things going on. Super exciting. Steve, I just want to thank you again for innovating on behalf of all the marketers here, for being a great executive visiting us in the region, and for just doing great work with some of our customers, like you mentioned before. Very exciting times ahead. Thanks again,
It's
Steve.
my pleasure. Thank you so much. Appreciate you and the team.